Loser by Tame Impala. It's a thunder now. I don't know if you can hear that on my cellular device, but it's a thundering. Um, this is take two. A couple hours later from take one. I didn't save the take one video. Um, my grandma walked in. She told me I had to eat food, and she was in frame. See, so I didn't want her to be posted on here. I don't much care for y'all creeps seeing my grandma. Just kidding, you're not creeps. Well, most of you. Oscar. I know you are, Oscar. Anyways, oh, I didn't feel nice. This is my beautiful, beautiful baby. It's my child. This is my wonderful Carvin. She sounds beautiful. She has a tuner built in. It is an acoustic, but you can adapt it to electric. Beautiful, beautiful. Look how gorgeous. Mother of pearl inlaid. It's wonderful. And it smells like a cigarette box, which may not sound like it smells the greatest, but cigarette boxes don't smell like cigarettes, and I meant cigar. It smells like a cigar box. Cigarette boxes are gross. Cigar box. I said the wrong word. Cigar boxes don't smell like cigars. They smell kind of. Its case smells like it. I can't tell you much. It's like a sweet smell, kind of like a wood, kind of. It's good. I like the smell. I'm putting this over here. Just for now. My Looney Tunes socks, bro. Sorry, I was unpacking my bag. I got pretty far in the first take in the book. But somebody had to come in and tell me that I had to go eat a chicken strip. It's okay. Awesome grandma. Making sure I'm staying fed, staying big and strong. That being said, I have to restart. Let's hope there's no other interruptions. I do have a teensy bit of a headache. I did have a bunch of water and I got a Tylenol, so it should be going away soon. Also, I just got back from my girlfriend's house, which is why I didn't make the take two right after I got back from eating, because I ate and then we left, and they dropped me off at my grandma dropped me off at my girlfriend's house. I spent a lot of the day there. Not a lot of the day, like 3 hours maybe. I don't know. It was fun. We did some moving some stuff around in her room because she got a new room or something. I helped. I like helping. Back to my gorgeous book here. Again, this is another video made mostly for my girlfriend. I've spent like 4 minutes yapping. I'm so sorry. You don't care though. You're just here for content, aren't you? Freakazoid. I don't know what I'm saying. I'm not in it right now. You know, I'm super out of it. I suppose that slang term is meaning something else in it. I don't know. I don't know what it means. I'm naive. Okay. I was explaining the other in my first take. I was explaining the other books I'm gonna do. No, maybe that was the end of the last video. I don't know. On the agenda, ready? Pray by Michael Crichton. Sleeping Beauties by, again, Stephen King. Um, I could do the Fablehaven series by Brandon Mull. Um, I could do the first book of Wilderlore. I forget who that's by. I believe her name's Amanda something. I don't know her last name. Um, Wilderlore is a good one. I love that one. I love all these books. I'm loving to share them with you guys. So if you want to give me feedback onto what I should do, I might not be able to see it. I mean, I can. I've got my Switch, which lets me see. I got like parental controls on my phone that don't let me see comments on my videos. But if I use my Switch and I log onto YouTube, I can see them. Because, well, only when I'm here, because again, the parental controls are on the Wi-Fi as well when I'm at home, but they're not here, so I can see and I'll try to react to your comments. So if you comment something, I will try to address it in the next video if possible. Anyways, I love you guys, and I love some of you more than I love others. They know who they are. I don't know where I was going with this. I'm gonna start reading now. We're starting from part 8 of chapter 1 because I only got to part 7 last time, and then I had to go because I was bored. I wasn't bored. I already took up 30 minutes of time. I should have just done the whole take, but that would have taken like an hour. Like take 1 of chapter 1, but it takes a hefty amount of time. I should have saved this for the end of the video because it's like 8 minutes that I've been recording right now. I need to cut out a bit because I screwed up in the beginning and I was displeased with myself. So it's gonna be like 7-ish minutes. I don't know. Something of the sorts. Peep the nails. They are busted, and the rings. One of them is matching with my wife, girlfriend. I hope you can hear me. My voice is a little low right now because my voice hurts. While I'm finding this page, I'll yap a little bit. One of her friends called me pretty or something. It was amusing. She showed me the the message on Instagram, and I'm like, oh, that's something. And then they say that, oh, they're not hitting on me or anything, but like, what? What are you doing with your life? I don't know how this works. If I cut the camera, like right now, to end the video, can I stitch the 2 videos together? Because I need to go get a drink. Okay, you're gonna be facing the ceiling for a minute. I'll be right back. Feel free to skip past. It'll be like a minute or so, whatever. Hope you like my lamp. Oh, that felt amazing. Oh, it was like a minute and a half. I'm sorry about that. Ow. I hit my knee. I was gonna come in here all happy like and say, oh, I got some lemonade. I hit my freaking knee on the stool, not stool, it's like a ottoman. Man, I completely just wood and it's hollow on the inside. I don't know. It hurt. Ow. It, oh. Anyways. Lemonade. Repping the Publix brand lemonade because it's so freaking good. It no diffs all other lemonade besides my own homemade lemonade because I'm the goat at making it. Too bad, like, none of y'all are gonna be able to try it besides, like, 2. Sucks to suck, you losers. Sorry. Anyways. Let me get my reading voice on. Gotta lock in for these characters. Not that I've been doing so well previously, but I'll attempt. I try to put more life into my reading. I'm yapping again. I'm stalling because I'm nervous. Excuse me. Part 8. You knew all that was coming, and probably you know the rest of the story as well. I'm sure you do if you're into recovery yourself or know someone who is. Lindy Franklin took Dad to an AA meeting that night. When they got back, Mr. Franklin called his wife and said he was staying over with a friend. He slept on a pull-up couch, and the next morning he took Dad to a 7 a.m. meeting called Sober Sunrise. That became Dad's regular meeting, and it was where he got his first-year AA medallion. I skipped school so I could give it to him, and that time I was the one who did some blubbering. No one seemed to mind. There's a lot of blubbering at those meetings. Dad gave me a hug afterward, and so did Lindy. By then I was calling him by his first name because he was around a lot. He was my dad's sponsor in the program. That was the miracle. I know a lot about AA now, and I know it happens to men and women all around the world, but it still seemed like a miracle to me. Dad didn't get his first medallion exactly a year after Lindy's 12-step call, because he had a couple of slips, but he owned up to them, and the AA people said what they always say. Keep coming back. And he did. And the last slip, a single beer from a 6-pack he poured down the sink, was just before Halloween of 2009. When Lindy spoke at Dad's first anniversary, he said that lots of people get offered the program, but never get the program. He said that Dad was one of the lucky ones. Maybe that was true. Maybe my prayer was just a coincidence, but I chose to believe it wasn't. In AA, you can choose to believe what you want. It's in what recovering alkies call the big book, and I had a promise to keep. Part 9. The only meetings I went to were Dad's anniversary meetings, but as I say, Lindy was around a lot, and I picked up most of the slogans AA people are always spouting. I liked, you can't turn a pickle back into a cucumber, and God didn't make junk. But the one that stuck with me, and does to this day, is something I heard Lindy tell Dad one night when Dad was talking about all the unpaid bills and how he was afraid of losing the house. Lindy said my father getting sober was a miracle. Then he added, but miracles ain't magic. 6 months after sobering up, Dad reapplied at Overland, and with Lindy Franklin and some others backing him up, including his old boss, the one who pink-slipped him, he got his job back. He was on probation, though, and he knew it. That made him work twice as hard. Then, in the fall of 2011, 2 years sober, he had a discussion with Lindy that lasted so long that Lindy ended up sleeping on the pull-out couch again. Dad said he wanted to go independent, but he wouldn't do it without Lindy's blessing. After making sure that Dad wouldn't start drinking again if his new business failed, as sure as he could be anyway, recovery ain't rocket science either, Lindy told him to go ahead and take a shot. terrible wording, in my opinion. Dad sat me down and explained what that meant, working without a net. So, what do you think? I think you should say adios to those talking camels, I told him, and that made him laugh. But then I said what I had to. But if you start drinking again, you'll screw it up. 2 weeks later, he gave Overland his notice, and in February of 2012, he hung his shingle in a tiny office on Main Street. George Reed, investigator and independent claims adjuster. He didn't spend much time in that hole in the wall. Mostly he was out pounding the pavement. He talked to cops. He talked to bail bondsmen. Always good for leads, he said. But mostly he talked to lawyers. A lot of them he knew from his old job at Overland, and... Sorry, I read that so wrong. A lot of them knew him from work at Overland, and knew he was on the square. Don't mind me, I'm a little stupid. They gave him jobs, though the tough ones, where big companies were either drastically reducing the amounts they were willing to pay or denying the claim altogether. He worked long, long hours. Most nights I came home to an empty house and cooked my own dinner. I didn't mind, though. At first, when my dad finally did come in, I hugged him so I could surreptitiously smell his breath for the unforgettable aroma of Gilby's gin. After a while, though, I just hugged him, and he rarely missed a sober sunrise meeting. One moment, please. It's very cold. I have a brain freeze. It's okay. Oh my. Oh dear. Sometimes Lindy would come to lunch on Sundays, usually bringing takeout, and the three of us would watch the Bears on TV, or the White Sox if it was baseball season. One of those afternoons, my father said business was picking up every month. It would go faster if I got the claimant's side more often in slip and fall cases, but so many of them smell bad. Tell me about it, Lindy said. You could always make short-term gains, but in the end, that work would bite you in the ass. Just before the start of my junior year at Hillview High, Dad said that we had to have a serious talk. I braced myself for a lecture about underage drinking, or a discussion about some of the crap I and my friend Bertie Bird had gotten up to during, and for a while after, his drinking. But neither of those were what he had in mind. It was school he wanted to talk about. He told me I had to do well if I wanted to get into a good college. Really well. Excuse me. My business is going to work. It was scary at first. There was that time when I had to reach out to my brother for a loan, but that's almost paid back, and I think I'll be on solid ground before long. The phone rings a lot. When it comes to college, though, he shook his head. I don't think I'm going to be able to help you much, at least to start with. We're damn lucky to be solvent at all, which is my fault. I'm doing everything I can to remedy the situation. I know. But you need to help yourself. You need to work. You need to score high on the SATs when you take them. I planned to take the Scholastic Aptitude in December, but didn't say so. Dad was on a roll. You also need to think about loans, but only as a last resort. Those loans will haunt you for a long time. Think scholarships. And play your sports. That's also a road to scholarships, but it's mostly grades. Grades. I don't need to see you graduate valedictorian, but I need to see you in the top 10, understand? Yes, father, I said, and he gave me a playful swat. Part 10 will commence in a moment, because I need to sit. Oh, eliminate. I'm not going to say what else. Needed to sip with the nade. Kill me now. Also need to stop slouching. I appear shorter. That hurts my back. But this is also wildly uncomfortable. I would move positions, but then I would look like a French girl hitting the pose. I'm not gonna fully commit to it. Ow, hair tangled. Anyways, part 10. I studied hard and made my grades. I played football in the fall and baseball in the spring. I made varsity in both sports as a sophomore. Coach Harkness wanted me to play basketball as well, but I told him no. I said I'd needed at least 3 months a year to do other things. Coach went away shaking his head at the sad state of youth in this degenerate age. I went to some dances, I kissed some girls, I made some good friends, and most of them jocks, but not all. I discovered some metal bands I liked, and played them loud. My dad never protested, but he got me earpods for Christmas. There were terrible things in my future. I'll tell you about them eventually, but none of the terrible things I had lain awake imagining ever came to pass. It was still our house, and my key still unlocked the front door. That was good. If you've ever imagined you might wind up spending cold winter nights in a car or a homeless shelter, you know what I'm talking about. And I never forgot the deal I made with God. If you do that for me, I'll do something for you, I'd said. On my knees, I said it. You just show me what you want and I'll do it, I swear. It had been a child's prayer, so much magical thinking, but part of me, most of me, didn't believe that. Doesn't now. I thought my prayer had been answered, just like in one of those corny Lifetime movies they show between Thanksgiving and Christmas. Which meant I had my end of the bargain to hold up. I felt that if I didn't, God would take him back the miracle and my dad would start drinking again. You have to keep in mind that high school kids, no matter how big the boys, no matter how beautiful the girls, are still mostly children inside. I tried, in spite of days not just crammed with school and after school activities, but bulging with them. I did my best to pay back what I owed. I joined a key club adopt a highway commitment. We got 2 miles of Highway 226, which is basically a wasteland of fast food joints, motels, and gas stations. I must have picked up a bazillion Big Mac boxes, 2 bazillion beer cans, and at least a dozen pairs of cast-off undies. One Halloween, I put on a stupid orange jumper and went around and collected for UNICEF. In the summer of 2012, I sat at a voter registration table downtown, although I was still a year and a half from being old enough to vote for myself. I also helped out at my dad's office on Fridays after practice, filing papers and doing computer input stuff, here, basic scut work. As it grew dark outside, and we ate pizza from Giovanni's straight out of the box. The punctuation in this book is quite maddening. Because reading it is such a hassle. Reading it out loud makes me want to paint the ceiling red. I'm joking. Don't quote me on that. I forget what they're called. I know what they're called, but I forget. The stupid lines that hyphens? No, that's different. I don't know. I don't know. Get off my case. Anyways, punctuation in this book's terrible, and I really, really would like to go in and change it. Because that shouldn't be there. What should be there is a comma. Because if there was a comma, I would have read it correctly. Stephen King needs to log in. I'm telling you. Anyways. Dad said all that stuff would look great on my college apps, and I agreed without telling him that's not why I was doing it. I didn't want God deciding I wasn't holding up my end, but sometimes I thought I could hear a heavenly whisper of disapproval. Not good enough, Charlie. Do you really think picking up roadside trash is payback for the good life you and your father are living now? Which brings me, finally, to April of 2013, the year I was 17, and Mr. Bowditch. It's getting to part 11 now. One of them. I spent like 12 minutes yapping, 14 minutes reading. You're getting more reading because I don't care how long this video is. It's probably gonna put someone to sleep. And by that someone, I mean maybe my girlfriend when she can't have me around to do it. Yeah. Part 11. Part 11. I don't know if you heard that first time. My voice likes to just stop. Good old Hillview High. Seems like a long time to me now. Time ago. Skip words. Let's restart that. Part 11. Good old Hillview High. Seems like a long time ago to me now. In the winter, I rode a bus, sitting at the back with Andy Chen, a friend of mine since elementary. Andy was a jock who went to play basketball for Hofstra. Birdie was gone by then, moved away, which was kind of a relief. There is such a thing as a good friend who is also a bad friend. In truth, Birdie and I were always bad for each other. In the fall and the spring, I rode my bike because we live in a hilly town, and biking was a good way to build up muscle strength in my legs and backside. It also gave me time to think and be alone, which I liked. Heading home from HHS, it was on Plain Street to Gough Avenue, then Willow Street to Pine. Pine Street intersected with Sycamore at the top of the hill that led down to the goddamn bridge. And on the corner of Pine and Sycamore was the Psycho House, so named by Birdie Bird when we were only 10 or 11. It was actually a Bowditch house. Let me be articulate and actually form full sentences spewing out of my mouth and not skip words. I apologize to any of your readers who get mad and are OCD about how I read things. I apologize. I'll get better because I'm doing this. This is helping me and this is helping you. You don't have to pay for this book because I'm reading it to you. It may be broken up, it may be broken up by me yapping a bit, but you still get a free book. Lock in. It was actually the Bowditch house. The name was read on the mailbox, faded but still legible, if you squinted. Still, Birdie had a point. We had all seen that movie, along with such other required 11-year-old viewings, such as The Exorcist and The Thing, and it did sort of look like the house where Norman Bates lived with his stuffed mother. It wasn't like any of the other neat little duplexes and ranchers on Sycamore and in the rest of our neighborhood. The Psycho House was a rambling, slumped-roof Victorian, which once was probably white, but now faded to a shade I'd call feral barn cat gray. There was an ancient picket fence running the length of the property, leaning forward in places and sagging back in others. A rusty waist-high gate barred the broken paving of the walk. The grass was mostly weeds that had run rampant. The porch looked like it was slowly coming detached from the house to which it belonged. All the shades were drawn, which Andy Chen said was pointless since the windows were too dirty to see through anyway. Half buried in the tall grass was a no trespassing sign. On the gate was a bigger sign reading, "Beware of dog." Andy had a story about that dog, a German shepherd named Radar, like the guy in the MASH TV show. We'd all heard him, not knowing this Radar was actually a her, and had gotten the occasional glimpse, but Andy was the only one who'd seen that dog up close. He said he stopped on his bike one day because Mr. Bowditch's mailbox was open and stuffed so full of junk mail that some of it had fallen to the sidewalk and was blowing around. I picked up the litter and crammed it back with the rest of the crap, Andy said. "I was just trying to do him a favor, for crying out loud. Then I hear this growling and barking. It was like, yabba, yabba, row, row. And I look up and here comes this fucking monster dog. It must have weighed 120 pounds at least. And he's got teeth all slobbering, flying back, and his eyes are fucking red." "Sure," Bertie said. "Monster dog, like Cujo in that movie." "Right." It was, Andy said. "Swear to God, if it hadn't been for the old guy yelling at him, he would have gone right through that gate, which is so old it needs Medicare." "Medicare," I said. "Whatever, dude." But the old guy came out to the porch and he yells, "Radar, down!" And the dog dropped right down on its belly. Only it never stopped looking at me and it never stopped growling. Then the guy, he goes, "What are you doing there, boy? You stealing my mail?" So I go, "No, sir, it was blowing around. I was picking it up. Your mailbox is awful full, sir." And he goes, "I'll worry about my mailbox. You just get out of here." Which I did. And he shook his head. "That dog would have torn my throat out. I know it." I was sure Andy was exaggerating. He had a habit of doing that, but I asked Dad about Mr. Bowditch that night. Dad said he didn't know much about him, just that he was a lifelong bachelor who'd been living in that wreck of a house for longer than Dad had been living on Sycamore Street, which was going on 25 years. "Your friend Andy isn't the only kid he's yelled at," Dad said. "Bowditch is famous for his foul temper and his equally foul-tempered German Shepherd. The town council would love for him to die so they could tear that place down, but so far he's hanging in there. I speak to him when I see him, which is rarely, and he seems civil enough, but I'm an adult. Some elderly guys have an allergy to kids. Steer clear of him would be my advice, Charlie." Which was no problem until that day of April the 13th, which I now will tell you about. Number 12. Number 13. Sorry. Number 12. I stopped at the corner of Pine and Sycamore on my way home from baseball practice to unpeel my left hand from my handlebars of the bike and give it a shake. It was red and throbbing from that afternoon's drills in the gym. The field was still too muddy to be playable. Coach Harkness, who coached baseball as well as hoops, had me on first while a number of guys trying out for pitcher practiced pickoff throws. Some of those guys threw really hard. I won't say Coach was getting back at me for refusing to play basketball, where the Hedgehogs had gone 5-20 the previous season, but I won't say he wasn't either. Mr. Bowditch's slumped and rambling old Victorian was on my right, and from that angle it looked more like the Psycho House than ever. I was wrapping my hand through the left grip of my bike, ready to get going again, when I heard the dog let out a howl. It came from behind the house. I thought of the monster dog Andy Chen had described, but all big teeth and red eyes above its slavering jaws, but this was no yabba yabba row row of a vicious attack animal. It sounded sad and scared, maybe even desolate. I've thought back on that, wondering if it's only hindsight, and have decided it wasn't, because it came again, and a third time, but low and kind of unwinding, as if the animal making it was thinking, what's the use? Then, much lower than that, was the last unwinding howl. It sounded like help. If not for those howls, I would have coasted down the hill to my house and had a glass of milk and half a box of Pepperidge Farm Milanos, happy as a clam. Which would have been bad for Mr. Bowditch. It was getting late, the shadows drawing long toward evening, and that was a damn cold April. Mr. Bowditch could have lain there all night. I got the credit for saving him, another gold star for my college applications. Should I throw modesty to the winds as far as my father suggested and attach the newspaper article that was published a week later? But it wasn't me. Not really. It was Radar that saved him with those desolate howls. And here I come to an impasse, because this is the beginning of chapter 2. That was the end of chapter 1, sorry. the next page is the beginning of chapter 2. I'm out of lemonade. My voice hurts. And I have mumbled so much during this 35-ish minute period. I have a coin. Quarter. Heads will be read another few parts, just into chapter 2, and tails will be to stop. Lucky for me, unlucky for you guys. I don't know if it's really lucky for me. I like reading to you. But it was tails, and to prove it, there we go. Want to be as fair as possible, you know? So, well, I love you guys, and I hope you keep coming back to read this with me, because I feel like this is a great book, and from what I've read so far, by myself, on my lonesome, I got up to over 200 pages or something out of the 600 that are in this. It's really good. So I hope you all stay with it. This one's gonna be like a 40-ish minute video. Most of it's just gonna be me yapping. Not most of it, some of it. The majority of what makes it 40 minutes is me yapping. The rest is me reading. To my girlfriend, I love you so very much, and I hope you enjoyed this part of chapter 1. That was parts 8 through something. Let me look again. Parts 8 through 1 moment, sorry. 8 through 12. So I read you not too much, but still enough. Peep the shirt too. I forgot about this. This is goated. Freaking love Guns N' Roses. I think we're done now. I think I can stop recording. Alright, I will see you guys in the next one. If you keep coming back, I'll finish the book eventually. I'm gonna not read it by myself. I'm gonna find out the ending with you guys. So, this all, from the point of page 200 something, which we're only on like 24. Anyways, from some point, and then like the middle of the book, I will be reading new material to me. So if you want to see my reaction to the new parts of the book that I haven't read, I would love to go on that journey with you guys. Thank you to the people who are already subscribed. I'll see you in the next one. Peace out.